Val, you're on mute.
Now, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I think I was trying to use my headphones, but I think I might have to try it out some other time. But by the way, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream here on the NE Patriots Talk channel. And today we're going to be diving into the Patriots schedule. Finally, we've been all waiting for this, and it's officially here, guys. Let's bring in this schedule. So here is the schedule. And what are your thoughts on the schedule? First glance at it, and before we break it down.
Not happy with the late bye again.
Yeah. Then again, to be honest, I agree with you, Andy. I did not like the late bye, but then again, like the first 13 games are somewhat easy, and then the last stretch are like a little more difficult, but it should be fine. At least the final game is against the Giants, so at least it's not that bad. But
wait, what?
No, the Giants is an easy opponent, and that which leads us to the bye.
Oh, before the bye. Okay, I got you.
What are your thoughts, Austin, on the schedule?
Yeah, now that I'm seeing it for the first time, like fully fleshed out, it looks pretty nice. I mean, like Andy was leading on to, definitely top heavy. The late buys are kind of, I mean, it seems like we keep getting stuck with it, but I think we have the team to endure, at least this time.
What do you mean by top heavy?
Just like the amount of games before the bye versus after.
Boom.
But I will say it does look like our toughest opponents are kind of after the bye, and just the Bills and the Ravens. Luckily, the schedule is kind of. We do have the second easiest schedule in the entire league this year, so.
But that's the home game against the Bills, so. But that road game against the Ravens, that's farther down the line. That could well be our toughest game all year, guys. That's going to be Vrabel versus Harbaugh Jr., if you will. That's going to be a showdown.
But what I do like about the schedule compared to last year's schedule, considering that the away games are a lot closer compared to last year, since last year we went up against the Western teams, and those were usually like the farthest games, and I'm glad we're just sticking closer like the games that like are within the eastern side of the US, so I like that part. The only farthest thing, I think it's going to be New Orleans, but I think it should be fine. Because like when you look at this, like
we don't go farther west than NOLA. We're at Nashville's still on Eastern time. Baltimore, East Coast. Tampa is on the Gulf Coast, but for all intents and purposes, the East Coast. So yeah, not a lot of traveling, and that is nice.
And the best part is that we're not going to have to go overseas. Like, we are not going to have to play an international game. Like, thank God.
We've had an international game. Maybe you guys can help me out. At least the last 2 seasons.
Yes, 2023 was in Germany against the Colts, and then London against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
But if you look at the preseason games, we got the Commanders. That's the very first game.
Oh.
Then you got the Minnesota Vikings, and I would assume that the Minnesota Viking, that's going to be the what you call it, like the like, I know that there's like usually like a practice between these two teams before the game, similar to like what the practice that the Eagles did. I'm just
we did it with the Panthers a few years ago.
Wait, what'd you say, Andy? You broke up a little bit.
I said we did it with the Panthers with that brawl.
Oh, I remember
practice a few years ago in training camp. I was there for. It was wild. I think I have a video. I could throw it up in the chat at some point. It was crazy, guys. Let me tell you.
Yep. And then finally, we got the New York Giants. Wait, what? So wait, let me get this straight. So we're going up against the New York Giants in the preseason game, and then going up against them again in the regular season.
Weird. Where is the preseason schedule, by the way?
You can see it on the top of front of the on top of the logos. You see P1. That's P1 that stands for all of these preseason games. P1 that's against the Commanders, P2 against the Vikings, and then P3 against the Giants.
Oh, and there's dates too. Are those?
Yeah. So I think
are those? Which of those is at Foxborough?
So the ones that are not saying.
So versus Washington, it looks like we host Washington.
Yes, we host Washington.
I'm gonna go with that Drake versus Daniels on August 8th. I might have to go.
Yeah, but we might see Wildridge or Dobbs starting that game, but I don't know what.
True. I don't know how Vrabel's going to do it either. What do you think, Austin?
For the preseason games, I mean, I'm sure he'll prep up a lot of our players that aren't really likely to make the roster. I mean, that's the whole point of the preseason, right? It's not to...
It's a weed-out time, yeah.
Yeah, it's not to play the guys that, are going to be playing week one. It's to play the guys that are, fighting for a roster spot, that want to make the team, that want to prove themselves, that they can contribute in some facet of the game, whether that's offense, defense, or special teams. So I think I'll have everyone prepared and ready to go.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to try and go to that preseason game, because obviously we're going to have to start watching these guys in training camp and then in the preseason as well, in the preseason games as well. So it's Gillette's a fun place to go. I don't think either of you has been, correct?
No, I have not.
I haven't, no.
But I heard from Colby, in the live stream, not the live stream, in the Discord, that there's a possibility that the AFC East Roundtable will host a live event or a tailgate party at Gillette Stadium, but all of these are not set in stone. So we're just whatchamacallit. All of these are just speculations, but I just I think I was on Dan's channel, but I know for a fact that it's confirmed that the events will be in Miami, Buffalo, and New York, but not 100% in Gillette yet. So all of these are up in the air, but all of these will be confirmed by July and August.
Okay.
But before we break down all of the games starting from week 1 to week 18, what are your thoughts on finally having 3 primetime games?
I'm psyched. I mean, that means I think it might mean the NFL is looking at this and saying, oh, geez, they have Mike Vrabel. They have this. We're not going to say revamped yet, possibly revamped both offense and defense. They remember what Mike Vrabel did to Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson back in those 2019 playoffs. So yeah, I'm psyched to see that we got primetime games back for your and my New England Patriots.
What are your thoughts, Austin, with the primetime games?
Yeah, I'm definitely psyched about it. I wonder if they're gonna end up flexing us out.
That came up in the chat earlier. Flexing out to if either, like you said, Austin, I think it was you, if either us or another team or the team we're playing, say the Giants, comes out late, they could flex that game back to a Sunday.
Yeah, it'll be really tough too, because not only do we have to perform well and prove we're worthy of that spot, but it's also, the team we're going against has to prove that as well.
Correct.
Nobody wants to watch a primetime game for the team to just lay the smack down. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be competitive games that draw the attention of not just football fans, but just casuals, so.
I think it was, tell me this, guys, it was either last year or the year before. There were some primetime games that were like, primetime, I'm going to put this in air quotes, that were not competitive at all. Like, I was like, what is this game? And it was like, one team would be up by like 15 points and the other team would like lay a complete and total egg. So it was like, okay.
I think those games are primarily on Thursday. I think the worst primetime games are on Thursday. Like
Thursday night
I can
football.
give like the Bears-Panthers game and a perfect example. Like it was a low-scoring game back in 2023. And then I remember, I think it was between Las Vegas and the Chargers. Las Vegas had scored 0 on the Vikings the week prior. And then next week they laid a 6-3 burger on the Chargers.
On the Chargers, and nobody saw it coming. Exactly.
And that's what got Brandon Staley fired.
Right.
I think last year too, the Jets and Broncos played, and that was just super low scoring, just like both teams trying to see who's going to play worse.
Yeah, that was, and again, that was supposed to be, Jets and Broncos was seen as like kind of a marquee game. And well, the Jets, you guys remember this, the Jets were like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, the Jets are going to be a playoff team. And they couldn't get in. They actually, no, I heard about that game on NFL Network yesterday. They almost beat the Broncos in that game, but Rodgers couldn't quite get it done.
Yeah, I like the fact that the Jets are not getting that ludicrous amount of like primetime games, to the point that some of these games were flex, like the Jets Colts game, because we all know that it would be a disaster because Colts and Jets during the later half of the season were both trash.
Yeah, they were. And still, I mean, we're not going to call them the dregs of the AFC yet. It's a new season. I was talking about this with a coworker the other day. You could argue close to every team on paper has really improved through this draft. But we'll just have to wait and see for the season, for the upcoming season and preseason, of course. Austin, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think that's the biggest thing. I think we're all super optimistic because of how the last 2 seasons have gone. And it's just I don't want to be like, oh, anything more than 4 wins would be a plus, but realistically, anything more than 4 wins would be a plus. So even if we double our win total, like, I'd be happy,
Also, you could average 7, 4, and 4, which of course gives you 15 divided by 3, and you get 5. But I'm mathing you. Let's not go there. But yeah, there could be a lot of interesting divisions this year. I mean, the AFC East, obviously the AFC West with the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, all in it. The NFC East, the NFC North. I mean, half the league, 2/3 of the league could be must-see football. I mean, that's what we're looking at, and I can't wait, guys.
Obviously, you got the South divisions that have been underperforming.
Right. And the Cowboys they now have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, so who knows what that does for Dak Prescott.
Oh, good point. But how about everyone else in the chat? What are your thoughts on like the primetime games? I'd like to get your thoughts in the chat. And at the very end of all of our breakdowns and our predictions for like what the record of the Patriots could be, you can use the link in the top of the chat as always, and make sure that you give yourself enough time to talk about what your thoughts are before we move on to the next caller, so that we don't have to drag it out, because I think this live stream is meant to be a short live stream, so just keep that in mind. But let's cut the chase and let's just start focusing on like week 1 and then down to week 18. So week 1, we host the Las Vegas Raiders.
Who's excited about the games, guys? This is what we're really here for.
For sure. I also sent you a link to an Excel sheet I made for the win losses. If you want to bring it up, I made it pretty quick, but it'll help.
Did you put it in our little personal chat?
I just sent the link directly to Dow, but I can send.
Yeah, I think he sent it to me.
No, if you wouldn't mind sending that to me too, Austin, please and thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
But
yeah, you got my Austin. You got my email, right?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry about that. Why would you just send it to Dow?
Just because he's the one controlling the stream, so I figured he'd be the one to bring it up. But I got you.
Oh yeah. Dow can bring it up. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending it to me via email, that would be awesome, please and thank you.
Okay, I'll bring that up at the very end though. But we're just gonna focus on like the opponents, and then we'll focus on the predictions. But I'm just looking at like the fact that we're starting off with an easier opponent, less so much of a difficult opponent. I really like, because considering it's the Las Vegas Raiders, and we all know what happened in Las Vegas that we won't even talk about the last time we played the Raiders.
Yeah, the infamous Jacoby Myers lateral pass, and Mac Jones just
and Mac Jones just Jacoby Myers lateral. Let's not even talk about that game. So obviously, Austin, I got your and there's no win losses yet. That's what we're going to talk about right now.
Right.
But to start off, we see that the Raiders are our first opponent. I think that I like it how they're making us start off with an easier opponent, because in years past we've been going up against like difficult opponents. Like I can think of like we usually start off with Miami, and then I remember 2023. I think we went up against the Eagles, if I was not mistaken.
That's correct.
And then we went up against Cincinnati. I think this is a more easier opponent. That's what I think. I like starting off going easy.
Yeah, I mean, it could still be difficult. It's practically the Seattle Raiders with Pete Carroll as head coach, and then bringing over Geno Smith in the trade. And I mean, they have a good roster. I think they've always had a good roster, but I mean, they've definitely had some key departures in Robert Spillane, Kayvon Chaisson, and Marcus Epps, which ironically we signed all three of those guys.
All three Patriots now, exactly.
And
so they make moved.
I was just gonna say, like, I think we have no idea what's going on with Christian Wilkins, who they signed him to like a crazy contract, because I know he suffered like an injury, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I think the defense was like it was good, but not like that great if I think about it, because they did lose Jack Jones, that's for sure. On offense, I think you'd have to worry about like the rookie Ashton
Genty, yeah. And they still have Jacoby Myers.
But I think the one key player we have to keep an eye on when it comes to the Raiders is Brock Bowers, who is like one of the best. Mm-hmm. He is like a special tight end.
He's a top 8 tight end.
And like, what do you think like your key matchups are when going up against Las Vegas?
I mean, it's kind of like you said, Brock Bowers, right? So it's determining who can we line up on the defense to negate him. Now, whether that's, you have the slot corner and maybe a safety shadowing all the time, or, you throw Gonzo on him, but I don't think Gonzo is like a viable choice there. I think you trust maybe like a Jabril Peppers or a Craig Woodson to try and cover him.
Yeah. You could even ironically put Epps on him, but yeah, I like that idea, Austin. You put you probably put Peppers on. You have Peppers covering Bowers, and you have Gonzo on Jacoby.
And then maybe like Davis on back, because I think he's like the second wide. He's gonna be like a wide receiver.
Or he could be I like Beck. He could be a wide receiver one. Maybe you should throw Gonzo on Beck and have Davis on Myers.
Yeah, and then I think there's another wide receiver. I think it by the name of Trey Tucker, but I think he's more like a wide receiver 3. And I think you can
Tucker
have
is
like,
yeah.
but yeah, I think their wide receiver room I think it has gone down a lot since Devontae Adams was traded to the Jets. But yeah, I think the wide.
Yeah, they have a potential stud in Beck. They have still a greater than serviceable guy in Myers, and they have Genty. So as Dow, you and I were talking about in the chat a little bit earlier, who do we have stop this potential beast of a running back?
If I could think about it, I know that our defensive line got a lot better. So
It did.
I think if you put Milton's and Barmore in the middle, if healthy, you can also, and then you have obviously Swinson to like be your guy. But then again, Swinson has issues with like against the run, but then you have Harold Landry. But the thing is, they're gonna run the ball regardless, and both of our edge rushers are like mediocre against the run. So
I could see us stacking the box a bit more against the Raiders. I mean, you saw back in college football. I mean, the what was it? Penn State versus Boise State in the college football playoffs. The one thing that Penn State knew that Boise State could do was run the ball. So what did Penn State do? They stacked the box and they made it impossible for Ashton Genty to do anything. If the Raiders
That wasn't Penn. That was Arizona, not Penn State, right?
I'm pretty positive it was Penn State versus Boise State.
You're talking about the Peach Bowl?
No, just like straight up playoffs. I can look.
That was Arizona, because Arizona kicked out Boise State. Penn State did not.
Maybe I'm thinking regular.
The playoff was the Peach Bowl, was Arizona Boise.
Boise. Let me take a look at I can look at list of all the opponents from the 2024 Boise State. So we got. Oh, I think I know it. Wait a minute. I think Wait, Austin, are you talking about the game against Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl?
Yeah, because it says the Nittany Lions opened their first college football playoff berth with a blowout win over.
Because the
opponents. So it was. So the Peach Bowl must have been after that. Okay, I gotcha.
But yeah, I think that this is going to be like a dub for the Raiders against the Raiders, I think.
And what exactly does stack the box mean? Does that mean like play 2 high safeties or something?
So no. Stack the box is basically like you're coming out in like a 4-3 bear or just like a 5-2. Like you're just throwing as many big old linemen in front of their linemen as you can to just plug all the holes essentially. And you trust that if they do a pass, like you have, Gonzo, Carlton, Davis, those type of people in coverage to stop the pass.
So it's what you do with big D linemen. You basically stack your D linemen against their O linemen.
It would basically be like selling out the run and basically begging them to pass. You're not going to win by running. You're going to win by having to throw the ball against us.
Okay. I mean, I understand, like, I probably get the gist of a lot of this football jargon. Even though I've been watching the game for years, it still just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
But do you guys got your predictions on if we're going to win against or lose against Raiders?
I would give us, considering Vrabel's defensive chutzpah, a slight edge for us in this game.
Yeah, I definitely think it's close because I think we're two teams in similar situations, but
it could definitely be decided by a touchdown or less easily.
Yeah, I'll give the edge to us just because we're home. There's a lot of energy like coming into this new season with all the changes that we made. Like we're gonna be ready for game 1, so I'll give us the win.
Okay, if that's the case, if we're gonna be doing predictions immediately, I'm gonna switch over to the Excel sheet you sent me, Austin, because I think we already know who our opponents are. I'm just gonna like check off like who we got. So
Yep.
we got Raiders. So
and Dow, if you wouldn't mind taking a screenshot of this when the stream is over and putting it in the main chat for everyone to see.
I'll screenshot it on my phone or iPad, and then
Boom.
I'll send it later. But yeah, let's move on to week 2. Oh wait, at Miami, and the problem. Okay, against the Dolphins, we know for a fact that we can't beat Miami, and the last time we beat Miami was against a non-Tua Dolphins team. It was led by Bridgewater and Thompson.
At the end of 2022, was it 22 or 23? It was 22 because No,
it was New Year's. I think it was.
It was New Year's because I remembered I was out birding. I remember that game.
Yeah, I think I was in like Philly. It was at Philly that day, and I just saw that game, and I was like, I have no.
That was 22 because Belichick's last game was that snow game against the Jets. So yeah, it was 22.
Yeah, that's right. And then the last time we beat them at home, the last time we beat them out away was against Ryan Fitzmagic back in 2019, and that was when AJ Brown played for us. No, Antonio Brown, excuse me.
Correct.
So, like, what are your thoughts on like the Dolphins game? Because we all know that the Dolphins regressed a lot. Like, they lost their left tackle in Terrion Armstead. They lost
Javon Holland to the Giants.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
And
Javon, you're right, Javon Holland, exactly.
I think a lot of it hinges too on two very specific players, and those players are
Tyreek Hill and
Jalen Ramsey.
And Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, him too. Three players, really.
Tua, yeah, because the injuries, but I would assume week 2 he's healthy, right? We're not that far into the season where you're worried about, he's been banged up a bunch. Like, I think he'll be fresh. I think he'll be ready to go. But I think Tyreek Hill wanting to be, out of Miami, like one day he wants to be there, one day he doesn't. He's just a cancer in the locker room, essentially.
He's flipping and flopping. He didn't sit. He has Tua on his top 5 list one week. The next he doesn't. He puts Baker over him. So yeah, Tyreek Hill is a real wild card. Waddle is pretty reliable.
And I
the problem with Waddle is his injuries. Like, he's suffered injuries multiple times. But I think the one key player we have to keep an eye on, there's Devon Achane, and also they have Jonnu Smith at tight end.
Yeah. Smith shredded us last year.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna hate to say this, but I'm actually going to give it a loss, considering that it's at Miami, and we know for a fact that we can't, unless there's a miracle. But for the sake of things, considering that we can't beat the Miami, I'm gonna have to give it a loss in Miami.
Historically, even with these new Patriots, with Brady, it was always really tough playing at the Dolphins. I mean, I'm not even going to remind you guys of that Wonder Ball lateral back in 2018 where they
won. Miami miracle?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. When it was Ryan Tannehill's final game as a Miami Dolphin.
Right.
And then we remember Brady's final game. It was home against Miami. Devontae Parker, when he was good in his prime, he killed us. And then it was
I was in Arizona. I had that game. I had the play-by-play of that game. I was watching it like a hawk, and it went down to the wire though. But yeah, that was rough.
I would almost say that it's a win against the Dolphins, regardless of it's away. And the only reason I say is, like, obviously we don't know if Tyreek Hill is even going to be on the team by then. All the key departures that they've had, and then also the fact, like, Jalen Ramsey's contract situation where they don't want to pay him, and there's talks of him being chipped off back to the Rams or to a contender. So it's just hard to see with all of our improvements and the coaching, and then like all the people that left the Dolphins, us losing to them. But
And
yeah, go ahead.
to your point, it wasn't just Tua always beats the Patriots. Well, yes, but there's also that, and Javon Holland and Jalen Ramsey both got the better of us so often.
Right.
Their defense has been stellar against the Patriots, and with potentially both of those guys now gone, and a coach in Mike Vrabel who knows how to beat Tua, this is a coin flip for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. So you're saying, Austin, it's somewhat of a win against the Dolphins?
I would say a win. And then I know you guys are kind of like lost, so we can mark it as a loss because I could see it going either way, kind of like the Raiders as well. I mean, there's a lot of unproven things with our team so far. Like we really have to see the preseason, see week 1 at least to get a better understanding. Obviously, these are way too early predictions, but yeah, if we have to take a loss away from the Dolphins, then yeah, that's good.
Then again, things might subject to change. Like we don't like the wide receiver core. I think it's overrated because besides Waddle and Tyreek Hill, I'm looking at like the wide receiver core for the Dolphins, and I don't like the look of it. Like I'm looking at. Well, they do have Nick Westbrook Akine,
Akine, former Titan, yeah.
but after that, none of these wide receivers are good. The only person you have to take care of is Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane, and the defense.
They still have Mostert too.
No, they lost. No, Mostert's with the Raiders.
Oh, they did. They lost really. Oh, geez, I didn't know.
They got Alexander Madison from who was with the Vikings and then Raiders, but then they got Ollie Gordon.
Oh, in the draft, yeah.
And then their defense is in shambles. Like
it is in shambles, as is their O-line.
Yep, we have no idea who their edge rushers are because Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, they are broken down players. But yeah, we already give it a loss for the Dolphins. And then we got Pittsburgh Steelers. This is going to be an interesting one. The funniest thing about the Steelers is that no matter how bad the team is, we seem to own the Steelers.
We had the loss against them in 18.
Yep. That was the last loss.
And even the last, even back when we had Zappy, that 22 season, we beat them. I think that game was on the road.
Yep, it was against Mitch Trubisky.
Correct. Who obviously were not. That's the thing about the Steelers, their quarterback situation. They lost both Fields and Wilson. And who do they have? What's their quarterback room? I just saw this. It's Shock, Howard, Rudolph, and I think a fourth guy. I'm blanking for now.
I think they have Rudolph, Howard, and Thompson.
And Shock. Okay.
But I'm looking at the wide receiver core. Their only good wide receiver is DK Metcalf, and they traded away who is it? They traded away
George Pickens.
They still have Robert. They signed Robert Woods. They have Calvin Austin. Their tight end. They still have Pat Freiermuth. I think he's a good. They don't have like a good running back. They lost who is it?
Harris to the Chargers.
Yeah, they lost Matthew Harris. And they lost they still have Jalen Warren, but I think that their defense, they are a wild card. Their defense is a wild card. Like
something else to point out is the Steelers are still in the running for Aaron Rodgers. Not to say that Aaron Rodgers would be a total game changer, but
yeah, but
Aaron, the scuttlebutt still is that Aaron Rodgers will be a Steeler. I mean, he's worked out with DK Metcalf. He's talked with Mike Tomlin. The three of us can probably agree he's more or less washed. But He is a Steeler if he does not retire. He is a Pittsburgh Steeler.
I don't know when the Rodgers media is gonna end. Like at some point he's gonna retire, but regardless, it's gonna be a win for the Steelers because at what point? When will the Steelers even beat us? Even without Tom Brady, even without Belichick. Like, it doesn't even matter what the Steelers do. We're still going to beat them regardless, no matter what the outcome looks like. Like, their defense is mediocre. Like, they have Fitzpatrick, they got Joey Porter Jr., they got Alex Highsmith, and then TJ Watt, who is still a good player, but
I mean, I will say, like, Rodgers, let's see, the Jets went 5-12 last year, which obviously isn't ideal, but Rodgers still had a 63% completion percentage with nearly 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, like around
Are you on PFF now?
I'm just on ESPN, which, like, I think ranked in some measures like top 10. So I mean, like, it's funny how we say wash, but it's just because even though, like, it's not as great as he's played in the past, but it's still far above, the middle of the pack.
Top 10 QBs for 2024. Jackson, Allen, Burrow, Goff, Darnold, Mayfield, Daniels, Mahomes, Herbert, Smith. Oh, geez. Holy Toledo.
But yeah, I think the only thing to keep an eye on the Steelers is their defense, because even though they're
Rodgers ranked behind Drake May.
Interesting. I think the only reason they went 5-12 is not just because of Rodgers being washed, but also their defense took a step back. Sauce Gardner was not Sauce Gardner.
He had 28 touchdowns against 11 picks, 6.7 yards per attempt. He had 107 rushing yards. And like you said, Austin, 63 completion percentage.
Yeah, like it's not a bad year whatsoever. It's just, yeah, I mean, I think their downfall was the firing of Robert Saleh.
Oh yeah, completely,
100%.
And which led to Jeff Ulbrich not focusing on the defense. But then again, since the beginning of the season, last season, the defense, they took a massive step back. I think that's what the demise was. But I think could say the same for the Steelers. Like, their defense is so overrated. Like, no matter how talented the Steelers defense is, the defense couldn't make plays when it was necessary. So it's obviously a dub for the Patriots.
Yeah, outside of TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr., and let's say Alex Highsmith. I mean, like, they definitely have some marquee players, but yeah, their defense is kind of a shell of itself. And I don't know, like, Mike Tomlin, they make the playoffs every year, but they always lose every year too. So at some point,
the Steelers, it has been forever and a day since the Steelers won a playoff game.
Oh, 100%. They haven't won since like 2016 or 2017.
I think one of those is right.
Yeah. I think 2016, because that was the year we played them in the AFC Championship to go against the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I remember that game. But let's quickly move ahead. So we got the Panthers next, and I am gonna say the Panthers did got a lot.
Oh yeah, I remember that game. I was in California. Yeah, that was a fun game, and that was their last playoff appearance, I believe.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts on the Panthers game? I think they did get better. Bryce Young did improve a lot under Dave Canales, but I'm not convinced about their team just yet.
I really like, as you guys know, I love Tyra McMillan, but he alone is not going to. He could make the Panthers definitely the middle of the pack in the NFC, but he's not gonna make them a playoff team yet. I mean, that division has the Bucks. I mean, I still got the Bucks to win the NFC South.
I think the only demise for the Panthers has been their defense.
Oh, their defense has been shit.
Like JC Horn signed that stupid extension. I think he's okay as a cornerback, but I think he got overpaid.
Oh yeah, for the contract that he got, his
100%.
stats definitely don't measure up.
And to be honest, their offensive linemen, it's okay, but it's like in the middle, I would say. But
Horn was a Pro Bowler this year, but
let me see who the Pro Bowlers were in 2024 for the Panthers. I think it was JC Horn and Robert Hunt, that guard from who was with the Dolphins. But yeah, I think that outside of the offensive line, I think that Chuba Hubbard is the only guy we have to keep an eye on. And I just think
Chuba Hubbard and Ted McMillan.
Yeah, but other than that, their defense has been lackluster, I would say.
Chuba Hubbard's not a defender, he's a running back.
I know, but I'm just saying the defense for the Panthers.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
But if you're looking at, but we didn't talk about like key matchups for the other two teams, but what are your key matchups for the Panthers? I think I'll say Gonzo on McMillan, Davis on Leggett. And then I think that's it. Because I can't think of anything else.
Austin?
I would like to point out that the Panthers did sign Rico Dowdle, and I think
that's right. Yes, yeah.
That's someone that could be interesting for them. I mean, Chuba Hubbard, outside of last year, has been kind of lackluster, so it was
kind of
nice.
Blah, yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to see him take that step this year. But I think complementing that with Rico Dowdle in the passing game is just gonna open up the offense. But yeah, that Panthers defense is kind of suspect. I'd give the Patriots the win here.
Ditto.
So are we giving it a win against the Panthers?
Correct.
Okay, I think we already got that. But next opponent, I think this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be the Sunday night football game, excuse me, against the Buffalo Bills.
At Buffalo, and this is so an not off talked about fact. Let me look up. Drake May. The Bills were a 2-touchdown favorite when we played them on the road last year, and Drake May eviscerated their number number one. Their how do I their ones on defense exactly.
The problem was obviously it was
Mondre fumbling on like the 5-yard line, and
the defense
just shooting itself to shit. Exactly.
But then again, the defense did get better. The Bills did get better, but there's some question marks when it comes to like the running back, because we learned that James Cook, he's holding out of training camp.
Oh, he is? Interesting.
Because he wants that contract extension.
Oh, that's right. I did hear about that the other day.
And then their good wide receivers are Keon Coleman and
Khalil Shakir.
Yep. And
they did just sign Elijah Moore, though.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, that's right. The Bills have more now. Ugh.
And then
Austin, you and I talked a little bit ago. It was before I went to Hawaii, I think, about the Pats potentially signing Elijah Moore. Alas, he is now with Buffalo.
Yep. R.I.P.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think the defense did get better, as in the defense line. They signed Joey Bosa to that 1-year deal. They drafted Landon Jackson. They got Michael Hoig. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Michael, he's the linguistic pronunciation is Hecht. Everybody Michael on Hecht, TV. Yes.
But I
Everybody
think
on TV says Hoyt.
Okay, but I think we don't have to play him because he got suspended for the first 6 games due to a PED policy. So I think we're going up against Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, Joey Bosa, and Daquan Jones. I think that's what I heard from Dan.
Greg Rousseau is a stud, though.
Yeah. Then you got Matt Milano. Then you got Terrell Bernard. Then you got some good players like in the backfield with Christian Benford.
Yeah.
They drafted who is it? They still have Taylor Rapp. They brought back old from the past Tre'Davious White, I think is washed. And then you got Maxwell Harrison, the first round rookie out of
Hairston is a sneaky player.
He is. And they also signed Josh Palmer.
Yeah, they got a pretty solid like all around team. I mean, it's definitely gonna be tough to beat them.
Yeah, the thing is you have to stop Josh Allen. It doesn't matter if he can throw, he can run. The only way you can beat the Buffalo Bills is to prevent Josh Allen from running. With a good offensive line, I would give this so I'm conflicted right now because considering that we take games off of the Bills, but since it's actually going to be a lot warmer in Buffalo than in years past because back in the day we would play at Buffalo towards the later half of the season and it was usually cold. I think it's going to be a lot warmer.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those. This could well be a coin flip game. This could be one of those games you've got. I'm going to call the Bills a playoff team. You've got the Pats, who on paper are on the up. This is going to be a coin flip. Could be one of those games that's decided by a touchdown or less. But I'd say you are in my Patriots take the loss at Buffalo.
Yeah, I expect it to be competitive though. Even though it's going to be a loss, I expect it to be competitive though.
These Bills games will be far more interesting than they were. Like that road Bills game last year was interesting. That was a fun game.
I enjoyed that game.
I did too. And it's definitely going to be more interesting playing them than it was the last few years of Belichick with no Brady. But it's still a loss here. Austin, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just excited for every game to be more competitive, and I think that's what you can expect with Vrabel at the helm.
Correct.
I mean, even though last year we did have 6 games that we lost by...
It was 6 games decided by a touchdown or less with complete crap coaching staff, which is why those people who were saying, "Oh, geez, the Pats could be a fringe playoff team." Let's not go there yet. I digress.
Yeah.
Right. But we want to, I don't want to see games where, Chargers, we lose 40-7. Or we're losing to a Jaguars team who realistically is probably bottom of the barrel team-wise as well. Like, we're kind of all in that same situation. They're blowing us out. First game against the Jets, they blew us out. Niners blew us out.
Yeah.
Everybody was
not good teams, and the Niners were not good last year. Right. Those losses that were not near misses were blowouts. The first Jets game, Jacksonville. Yeah. Gosh, I can't. I'm brain farting, and you just mentioned.
Well, let's not get off track for a little bit, but I think that we can agree that we
got to keep it going like Bob the Weasel here. But yeah,
facts. But so
loss on that one.
It's a definite loss, but it's not going to be that bad unless the defense have a bad day or the offense have a bad day. But I digress. The next opponent, I think this should be an easy dub because. Question marks at quarterback.
Who do the Saints have right now? They have Chris Olave at wide receiver.
And Shaheed.
Exactly. Rashid Shaheed.
They have
It's not a pushover, mind you.
They have
don't forget
Kamara.
Taysom Hill, guys. No.
Taysom hit the great Taysom Hill.
And they have a first-year head coach in Kellen Moore. I'm looking at the roster. There's nothing impressive about the Saints. Like, they did sign Donovan Peoples-Jones. Oh, I should have realized they also they brought back Brandon Cooks.
Yes, they did.
Blast from the past. But I think Brandon Cooks, he's not the same that he once was.
He's not. I mean, you could put no. I mean, you couldn't. He's not the one you need to put Gonzo on. You'd put Carlton Davis on him.
Yeah, and if Chris Olave stays, if he's healthy, now that he does have Derek Carr, but then again, Chris Olave has been concussed multiple times.
Correct.
So I think this is going to be an easy dub. Because
Mr. Lesage.
So
yeah, I think it's a dub too. I'm kind of like looking at what their draft looks like outside of Calvin Banks, which will be a contributor instantly, but Tyler Show,
Oh, it's Shock. Oh, Shock's a Saint? Why did I think he was with the Steelers? No, you're right on that one. He is with the Saints. Shock is an unknown. I mean, he could be really good. He could suck.
Yeah. So we have nothing to discuss because we already know that the Saints are complete. They're dysfunctional.
The Saints ain't.
Yeah, and they lost their special teams coordinator, who I think their special teams was good, but I don't know.
Yeah, the Saints are like 2 years behind a rebuild, essentially. Like they should have.
Yeah, they overpaid.
They are in an anti-rebuild, Austin. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I like the way you put it, Austin. Considering that they are they're over the cap.
Yeah, I think like how we have 67 million in cap space, they have negative 69 million. So.
They're in the red. They're in the red by almost 70 million. Are you finding that on NFL.com?
For that one, that's just off the top of my head. Like it's something that's always been joked about. Like the Saints are just always in debt.
Yeah. Oh, that's a frequent one. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's quickly move over to the game against the Titans, and this one is gonna be at the Nissan Stadium. So this team is the most overrated team, I would say.
They do have Cam Ward, whom a lot of people like.
Yeah, but their offensive line, they overpaid players.
Yeah.
Like I think you have Gonzo on Ridley, Marcus Jones on Restrepo.
Sugar Peas. They got Iam Maynor.
They did get Aaron. That's right. What else do they have? They have Okonkwo. They got Gunnar Helm. They brought back Tyler. They signed Tyler Lockett, but other than
Tyler Lockett is an overrated wideout.
He is. But then again, he was like a wide receiver too for the Seahawks, but I just don't like what the Titans are doing. They rushed in to do a rebuild, and the moment you think about it, they looked atrocious.
And they lost Mike Vrabel, so this is Vrabel going up against his former team.
The only thing good about the Titans is their defense. They still have Jeffrey Simmons. They have They have Devondre Sweat. I think they have an overrated L'Jarius Sneed. They have there's nothing else I could say but the defense. Their offense is overrated. I would give this a win against the Titans, but we all know what happened last time. But all of that was because of coaching.
I mean, obviously, none of these are givens. None of these is a given.
Yes.
I had us sweeping the AFC South last year. We went 1-3 against them. So
No, we went 0-4 against them.
no, we did. Was it 0-4? We didn't beat the Colts. We didn't beat the Jags. We didn't beat the Titans. We didn't beat the Texans. You're correct. Oh, brother.
Jeez.
So what I meant to say is I had us going 3-1. We went 0-4.
Well,
We know
the
what
last time we
happened.
went against the entire AFC South, we did go 3-1. The only loss was against the Colts,
Right.
where we fall back down to earth. But yeah, anything could happen. But I'm not convinced. I'm gonna see we beat the Titans, but anything could happen.
I think it's a win there as well. It's definitely interesting with Cam Ward, plus you have Restrepo joining him, where their teammates, Omenor, and then Calvin Ridley with Tyler Lockett. Like, that's a solid receiving room.
Restrepo, you and I, Austin, I remember we both liked Ian Maynor in our mock drafts a lot.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed when the Titans took him, but
we got
that Ward Restrepo, if Ward and Restrepo form a connection, yeah, this is again, this could be a close game. This could be one of those field goal touchdown type of games. It's a slot. We're gonna see. This is gonna be some.
I think we get the win purely though because I think the Titans are trying too hard to do what the Commanders did, which is like a 1-year turnaround where the Titans handed out, a very expensive contract to
Calvin Ridley.
Well, not Calvin Ridley, the tackle. He's like the highest paid tackle.
Oh, Joel. No, not Joel. He's
Dan Moore.
Oh, Dan Moore, yeah.
Yeah, the most overrated left tackle from the Steelers. He didn't even perform well. He's the most overrated.
Yeah, so like they're just handing out money for all the wrong reasons, and I think it's just going to be their downfall. So
I think their owner, who is actually the daughter of the late Bud Adams, I think she's like her father.
Amy Adams, yeah, and Vrabel still has a chip on his shoulder over the Titans. Yeah, that is a dub for me.
Yeah, so let's move on to another crap show similar to the Saints, but even funnier, and that is the Browns.
Onto the oh brother, I could make a river joke right now, but I won't.
Their only
Cleveland
thing good is their defense, but I'm looking at the roster, and there's so much to say about this. Like,
I know
we drafted 2 quarterbacks. We're gonna replicate what the Patriots did.
We're gonna again. They're not even really going the Commanders route. They're the Browns, as I say in the chat, the Browns shit brown.
Like, their only the good wide receiver is Jerry Jeudy. They got Judkins to replace Chubb, but I'm not convinced entirely. They lost Elijah Moore. Their only good player is Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, Amari Cooper still is on the free agent market too. So, I mean, I'm not going to cancel out a return, but that team's just totally messy. You have Dylan Gabriel going in front of Shedeur, then picking up Shedeur way later. They pass on Travis Hunter to get a future first, but then
did you guys hear? It came up in the chat last night. Did you guys hear this? Mason Graham puking on the field.
Yeah, like he's unconditioned.
Mason Graham, I heard that he was underperforming in rookie minicamp.
Ditto.
So they overpaid. They signed Myles Garrett to that contract, and they're stuck with him.
So between a completely unknown, nay, crap quarterback situation, one of the most hyped defenders in the 2025 draft puking the moment he walks out onto the field for rookie training camp, and
that's embarrassing.
And Amari Cooper and oh gosh, I can't. Who is that wide receiver? Dow, not Cooper, the other one.
There's Jerry Jeudy. They signed Deontay Johnson. I am like, what the heck are the Browns doing?
Yeah, this is gonna be. We never lose to the Browns. I mean, this is gonna be a dub. Who do you even talk about putting on who? I mean, you put Gonzo on Jeudy. Simple.
Exactly. And then their tight end is Njoku, but I think Njoku's so inconsistent.
Njoku's very inconsistent.
And their only thing good is their defense, but I think the defense is overrated, so this is an easy dub for us. And now we move on to another question mark team.
The Dirty Birds.
28-3.
28, yep. Michael Penix at quarterback.
Wait, Luke Neely is saying something that I think you might want to see this.
Oh,
Browns-
Luke's always Browns. Oh, the chicken wings. Yeah, Browns coach trying to say Mason. Oh, brother, binged on chicken wings. Oh man.
But yeah, let's move on to our next opponent. We got the Falcons. Anything to say about the Falcons other than that they also rushed in for a rebuild? Like they're like no matter what they try to do, they seem to not even make the playoffs.
They did get your guy Xavier Watts out on Notre Dame, Austin.
Yeah, I was happy about that. I think he's going to be, an instant contributor in that secondary. I'm more interested though, as regarding the Falcons at least, with what's going to go on with Kirk Cousins.
That's that contract, yeah.
Such a big question mark, and I have no idea if they're going to carry it or try to offload it, whether that's, cutting or is there a team out there? Like, I'm honestly surprised the Steelers didn't try to cook something up to get Kirk in Pittsburgh, I just think there's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback, and I don't think Kirk is. I'd much rather have Kirk Cousins than Aaron Rodgers, at least at this point in their careers.
Kirk has a more solid head on his shoulders than Rodgers does.
Yeah, Rodgers needs to go to the dark room and sit there for a whole weekend.
He needs to flip and meditate and do
ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca, thank you.
But
got something to get him high.
But there's one problem I still don't understand with the Falcons. There's one thing I still don't understand. Why are they still hyping up Kyle Pitts? Like Bijan Robinson, he's a good running back, but you still have they have a good running back. They have good wide receivers. They have Drake. They have Drake London. They have Darnell Mooney. That's it. And then obviously overrated Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, nothing really scares me on the offensive side of the ball. I'm more interested in seeing if our tackles can hold up against
James Pierce and Jalen Walker.
Correct. And Jalen Walker.
Yeah, Jalen Walker.
Pierce and Walker there's a reason they talked about Vrabel possibly taking Jalen Walker. That kid is a beast.
The problem is they lost Grady Jarrett.
Right.
They have a good secondary. They have
the Falcons have a stout defense.
They have Terrell. They have Watts. They do have Jesse Bates. I think their defense is going to keep them alive. This
team is. Tell me, guys. This team is a little Titans-esque on paper. If I'm not crazy,
I am. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't know what it is about this team. I just can't help it but laugh at them. Like the 28-3 memes.
I know. So, Austin, what do you say for win-loss? I'm going to give the floor. Let's give the floor to you. I don't think you've gone first yet on win-loss yet, man.
I think it's a win. If we're just talking 28-3, yeah, that's a win in its own. But I just think there's too much unknown right now with Penix. A lot of people are trying to say like, oh, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks out of that draft he came out of. But I mean, he's competing against Drake May, Caleb Williams,
Jaden Daniels,
Bo Nix, AJ McCarthy. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks, and I don't know if he has the power to elevate the players like Drake May did. Like, Drake May proved that with nothing, he created something. And we haven't seen that with Penix.
I'm
Penix
digressing,
has
but I'm digressing, but that's still what drives me crazy about people. I don't want to say dumping on Drake May, but almost looking down on Drake May. It's like, do you guys realize what he did with next to nothing? Almost 3,000 yards and a 2/3 completion percentage. The guy is, and he can run. The guy is. Will Campbell on that O-line, I have high hopes for Drake May, but let's keep to the task at hand. We will beat the Falcons this season.
We gotta beat the Falcons. I think it's I would say this is more like a quiz for us. I would say that Bills game would more be like a test. The Falcons game would be more of like a quiz for us. But
right,
the Bucks, I would say the Bucks is interesting. Like they drafted Emeka Ibuka. I think they have a good quarterback in Baker Mayfield. I think they have a good running back in Bucky Irving. It's I think the wide receiver core. I think it's going to be a little more scarier than the Falcons. Like
they still have Godwin, and Evans.
They also have Jalen McMillan.
They did not. I was like, tell me this, guys. I was like, what the flying fuck when they took Ibuka? I know he's good. They over-dipped on wide receiver in the draft. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, what on earth were they doing? Why did they prioritize defense? I think this is going to be a shootout if you
It could, Baker and May. Stephon Diggs. I hope Stephon Diggs, you're right, Austin, and Stephon Diggs gets his groove back and hits 1,000 yards receiving. I have high hopes for Kyle Williams. When push comes to shove, okay, let's talk about matchups. You put Gonzo on Godwin. You put
I would put
kill me.
Gonzo on Evans, considering Evans.
You put Gonzo on Evans.
I don't know about Godwin yet, considering he's coming off of a massive injury.
Yeah, Godwin could start on the pop, so
yeah,
Godwin. So that's one of the reasons a lot of fans were leery about signing Godwin again. He's a stud, but he's injury prone.
I don't get it. I would so if I were the Bucks, I would start Evans, McMillan, and then Ibuka.
Yeah.
So I would put Davis on McMillan and then Ibuka on not Jones on Ibuka, or maybe put Alex Austin on Ibuka. I don't know.
Put Austin on Ibuka. Interesting. Not our Austin. Alex.
They also got Tez Johnson. I don't know why they doubled up.
I do think
that was
be
weird.
The biggest test for our defense.
100%.
Yeah, because that between Bucky Irving and those receivers and that O-line is still good.
Baker Mayfield, that's a solid offense. So
yeah.
Baker Mayfield's is a top 7 quarterback.
100%.
Shootout. We take the loss at Tampa.
Yeah, I'm
Bay.
gonna take a loss.
yeah,
I think that we could compete. I just think that the Buccaneers will score more points than the Patriots. I just don't know what the Bucks defense looks like. They didn't address anything. They didn't address the defensive tackle. I think they still have Vita Vea, but
they do still have Vita Vea.
They don't have anything impressive. They have Levante David. They still have Antoine Winfield, but everything else doesn't impress me. I don't think Shiloh Sanders would save the team.
No.
Yeah, I just don't know about the defense. Their defense is question mark. But let's move on to
the Jets playing at Foxborough.
Thursday night football. And I've been nosy about the Jets, so I think I know a little bit about the Jets. So like they have Justin Fields, so we already know that they solidified their offensive line. That's for sure. Their wide receiver core. They have Garrett Wilson. They have Josh Reynolds. They have Alan Lazard, and then some mediocre wide receivers. Then they drafted Mason Taylor. I would say this is a win for us. Like Jets, they're gonna jet. It doesn't matter how.
The Jets are gonna jet. I mean, they could be a middle of the pack to borderline playoff team, and still they're gonna jet. Matchups. You put Gonzo on Garrett Wilson.
Davis on Reynolds.
You put Davis on Lazard.
Lazard, he's overrated. He's not even a wide receiver too. Like, what did he do outside of Rodgers being under center? Nothing.
Bupkis, diddly squat, zilch.
What do we do against Breece Hall? Like Breece Hall, he's the most inconsistent. He's the most overrated running back.
He's not overrated. He's not an overrated running back. He is a that term.
They also got Braylon Allen.
He's a hit or miss running back. He's a spotty running back.
With Breece Hall, he had 6 fumbles. 6 fumbles. But that's because the offensive line was injured. Like they lost Morgan Moses. Olufashani was on injury reserve.
They do now have Armand Mambu.
Mm-hmm. They also have Donovan Edwards. They have Braylon Allen. Oh, I think they're going to be good. They have, for the defense, I think we're going to have to keep an eye on Will McDonald. We are going to have to keep an eye on Will McDonald. We're going to have to keep an eye on Quinny Williams. Their rookie Tyler Barron. They also re-signed Sherwood. They have Quincy Williams. They did lose Mosley, but I think Mosley I think he's done. Like Mosley has been injured most of the time. And then in the defensive backs, they have overrated Sauce, who's coming off of a horrible season. They lost DJ Reed and they replaced him with Stevens and then Azaria Thomas. They also have Malachi Moore.
Azaria Thomas he's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the question is, what is Sauce Gardner? Is Sauce Gardner gonna come back? Like, is he gonna bounce back? That's the question. I say this is a win for us.
What are your thoughts? I'd probably say it's a win as well, but I would like to point out that in terms of the AFC East, I kind of see it falling Bills, space, and then it's like New England, the slight edge, but I could see the Jets and New England fighting for that wild card. And then I think the Dolphins are just going to finish last in the division.
The Dolphins will, with all that crap, will finish last. A lot of people are talking about them finishing last in the division.
Dolphins are done.
Unless the Jets completely fall flat on their face, second in the division. I mean, even the NFL is the NFL.
Of course. The thing about the Jets is they have a first-year head coach in Aaron Glenn. They have a new offensive coordinator in Tanner Angstrand, who was the pass game coordinator for the Detroit Lions. They have Steve Wilkes as their defensive coordinator. So everything is new for the Jets.
Their defense will keep them in games. I think.
Correct. Yeah.
I think Sauce will have a bounce back. The fact they drafted Azaria Thomas, that could be a scary corner. Room. They lose DJ Reed to Detroit, unfortunately. So
what are they going to do with Stevens? That's the question. Stevens did nothing in Baltimore, and he got that stupid contract.
Yeah, that almost seemed like a desperation move. Like they didn't expect DJ Reed to leave. They thought, oh, maybe
they should have known DJ Reed should leave. They should have known. I heard reports that DJ Reed, he says that he's going to test out free agency. They should have known.
Yeah.
They didn't come up with a backup plan.
But no, I agree with you on Azari at Thomas. Sauce,
I don't
under
know
under Aaron Glenn, he definitely could have a bounce back.
Yeah, but then we remember when that play with Keishon Booty mossing Sauce Gardner.
Boute's got to stay a Patriot. Again, I sound like a broken record here. Be a shoot. Almost every game against these darn Jets is a shootout. It's a divisional game. Pats at home. Pats by a field goal.
Yeah, I can see that. Also, I think we're going to beat the Jets because we have no idea what they're doing with their special teams. That's another good thing we should point out. They lost. Greg Zerline's still on the dang team. They lost Thomas Morstead, who is their punter.
Greg Zierline, what?
They still have Greg Zerline.
Greg. The kicker. The kicker.
The guy that we owned constantly. We own Greg Zerline, even in the Super Bowl. When he was with the Rams.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The funniest thing is that I don't know if they address kicker. Because their kicker position, they have this guy, they have Caden Davis out of Ole Miss. And then they have Anders Carlson, who did okay. But that was because of Greg Zerline being shit. What are your thoughts, Austin?
Yeah, I think it's a win. I mean, I do think it's close. I don't think the Jets are as bad as everyone says they are. The offense is definitely suspect. Special teams will play a factor, but
I do not sadly have the Jets ranked near the bottom of the AFC on paper.
Yeah.
A lot of these teams a lot of teams improved during the draft. We did, and the Jets with Armand Membu, that he could do a lot for their offensive line at right tackle.
Yeah.
Thomas is a stud cornerback.
They also lost their punter in Morstead. I don't know who their punter is now.
They still have a top 5 to 8 defense on paper.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The Jets are interesting.
I think their defense is going to bounce back.
Their defense is going to bounce back, but let's move on to Cincinnati.
The biggest question mark is, so I think the biggest test is going to be for our defense. Considering that we're going up against top 2 wide receivers.
Correct.
So I would say Davis on Higgins, Gonzo on Chase.
Bingo. Gonzo took Chase. Was it Gonzo took Chase out of last year's opener?
Yeah, I would actually swap. I would say Carlton on Chase and Gonzo on T.
For what reason?
Height.
Because if you look at like the Chase interview last year, he said, "Who's the cornerback you hate going up against the most?" And he said Carlton Davis. And you just see from the highlights, like,
when did he say that?
He had an interview. It was like, who's a cornerback that you hate going against, but you like respect the hell out of? And it was Carlton Davis. And you can just watch the highlights, and Carlton Davis completely shuts down Jamar Chase.
Where did you find that? Oh, jeez.
Where
do you find this stuff, man?
I just scroll Twitter or X or whatever. So
you're on Twitter. I'm not a Twitter guy.
I'm somewhat of an X guy, but I only go on Instagram.
And I just feel like, I don't know, Carlton Davis matches up a little bit better because he makes up for, what he may lack in speed with extra arm length, where I think Gonzo's physicality would be better against T. Higgins, who's more of a physical receiver.
T is a physical receiver, exactly. Yeah. Higgins is Chase is much more of a runner.
But
But I think the Patriots will definitely destroy the crap out of
Their defense is suspect. I mean, this Trey Hendrickson shit, who knows how that's going to pan
Also,
out.
their cornerbacks are ass.
Yeah,
Their
this is
quarterbacks-
this game definitely seems like an actual shootout game. I know we kind of discussed the Bucks could be that, but this genuinely feels like
And
the Bengals are just gonna throw the hell out of this ball, and
Burrow will be out for a revenge game against us after last season opening.
I think this is going to be a shootout, but considering how good the offense is, and considering that T Higgins is in there in the mix, the question mark is going to be running back because they don't have a Joe Mixon anymore.
oh, I think Chase Brown filled that role just fine. I mean, I don't think they have like that receiving back they really want, but I think Chase Brown's solid.
Let me see who they have a running back for the Bengals. They have they still have Chase Brown and Zach Moss. They have Perrine, who is with the Chiefs.
Perrine is solid, but clearly RB3.
I think we're gonna have to apply a lot of pressure because their O line is trash.
Aside from Ted Karras.
Yeah. But other than that, I just don't like what their O line looks like. Also, their tight end room outside of Mike Gesicki, they're all shit.
Yeah, I think the game could be a shootout and very well come down to the Bengals defense having to get one stop, because I don't think it's a matter of, can the Patriots score, can the Bengals score? I think it's a matter of, can the Bengals defense just stop the Patriots from scoring once to give the Bengals offense a leg up?
Who can stop whom, or can we stop them?
Right.
So, is it going to be a loss for the Bengals or a win for the Bengals?
I think we lose to the Bengals.
Ditto.
Yeah, it's not like what we did week 1, but that's because Bengals have a tendency to do a terrible job.
This is going to be like that last Mac Jones game against Cincinnati. We nearly come back and then we didn't. Well, it's not going to. Obviously, I hope that it doesn't play out that same way. But yeah, I see us losing in a near miss.
But anything will happen. Anything will happen. But let's move on to week 13 against the Giants. We got us going up against Jackson Dart potentially, because I think that Russell Wilson is going to be playing the first few games and then let Jackson Dart play. I think for key matchups, I see Gonzo on Malik Neighbors.
Gonzo on
Davis
Neighbors, yeah.
on Slayton. Who's their running back? I think
Cam Scatabo.
Right.
And,
to take, because I think
Scatabo, we're gonna have to. We could really have a tough time taking out Scatabo.
Also, this is going to be a test for Will Campbell to see if he can block Abdul Carter. And our interior offensive line stopping Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, the Giants, they
always
knocked their draft out of the park, I feel. I mean,
Yeah,
they got Abdul Carter, then they followed up by trading back up to get Jackson Dart.
Hold on. Jackson Dart is their only questionable pick in my mind.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like, if you think that's your guy, you go up.
They traded up to get him. I still think that's stupid. But on the other hand, they got Abdul Carter. They got Cam Scatabo. They got somebody else.
Darius Alexander on the D line, which is like crazy value for the third round. That's the guy. Running back Tyrone Tracy. I think he'll complement Scatabo really well. So.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy. Yeah.
I just think so.
I will not until I see it. I won't trust Dart as far as I can throw him. That's all I'm saying.
Then again, there will be possibility of injuries because we know for a fact that MetLife Stadium is a horrible stadium.
Oh, with that grass.
It plagues players. It plagues ACLs.
One could argue.
No, this is versus the Giants, though, Dow.
Well, yeah, but their defense is going to be keeping them in the games.
Oh,
I just don't think the offense will, outside of Malik Neighbors, will strive. Considering that
they have Scatterbo. They have Scatterbo.
Yeah, but the offensive line is question mark.
Fact.
Like they did resign Andrew. They still have Andrew Thomas. Evan Neal, he's a guard at best. I can't think of anyone else on the offensive line. And I don't know about their tight end situation. So I would give this a win by a hair. What are your thoughts, Austin?
Yeah, I would give it a win as well.
So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
This is versus, because this game is not at MetLife. Yes, I would give us the edge in the Giants game.
So we're 9-4. That's insane. But I think now that we're in the bye, I think this is going to be where the test begins. Considering that we're going up against the AFC East again.
The 3 of the last 4 games are divisional.
So, do you think we might win in Buffalo, considering how their performance was at Gillette Stadium? But
this is versus Buffalo.
What are your thoughts, Austin?
It's definitely tricky because I know we gave us the loss against Buffalo the first time, and that was an away game. Now we're back home, but I could easily see. I mean, I could see us splitting, but I could easily see the Bills sweeping us again as well. It'll be a good test. I'll say that. I'd probably predict the loss, but it'll be a good test in the sense of we play them week 5 and we don't play them again until 15. So that's 10 like 10 games later type deal. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So by then you would think your team's developing, starting to get into playoff form, and you kind of weed out the fakes and find out what your team really is. So
fakes, what do you mean? Like players you're talking about?
I just mean like every year there's that.
Oh, what's a real win?
Yeah, there's the teams that are on paper, like the Dolphins. Even the Dolphins were like winning like
crazy.
Weed
out the paper tigers.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a loss still for now, but close.
So you're saying this is a loss again?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, we always compete against Buffalo. It doesn't matter. So this is going to be a question mark. But
I can't say either way. If we do drop that road game, it could be a revenge game for us. Like Vrabel is like, oh, I got pissed. We lost out there by like a field goal or whatever. It's still Josh Allen. When push comes to shove, I can't say win yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, we already know what the outcome is against Baltimore. We already know the outcome.
At Baltimore,
nothing to say because we can't beat Derrick Henry. Their defense got better. They got Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton as their 2.
And they re-upped Ronnie. Oh God, that's that
Ronnie
Stanley.
Oh,
Stanley. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the quickest loss on the schedule, to be honest. They
And
just
it's
have an all-around better team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a
Right-
worse loss for us.
we know Vrabel knows how to beat Lamar Jackson, but I mean, you've got Derrick Henry, you've
But
got
they
Isaiah
But they lost to Baltimore in 2021, or was it 2020?
No, that was 20, would have been 21.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah, they lost to Baltimore. But there's nothing we can do. I don't think the defense could stop Derrick Henry and
Lamar with
Lamar.
Zay Flowers mixed in.
Zay Flowers, yeah, that's right, Zay
Bateman.
Flowers, yeah.
They got Hopkins,
They have D-Hop, yep.
and then they have Rashad Bateman. They're
And they
tied
have
at
Rashad
question.
Bateman,
I
who's
think
no
they're gonna use-
pushover. And they
I
have
think-
Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, Mark Andrews, he's not going to do much. I think it's just going to be Likely. And then their offensive line's good. Their
But yeah,
defense,
you definitely have to put Gonzo on Zay Flowers this game.
yeah. Also, the defense. They got Calvin Lloyd. They got Metabike. They got Roquan Smith. They got.
I still can't believe Kyle Van Noy is a fucking Raven.
I can't believe it. No, I was like, you know what's funny? He got cut in the Chargers, then was signed to the practice squad, and then elevated to active roster, and his stats skyrocket, even at the age of 30. I can't believe it.
Ridiculous, guys. Okay.
I don't know how we let that happen.
So that's mumbled back the word Lenore, quoth the Raven nevermore. That's a loss. Let's move on to versus the New York Jets.
At MetLife Stadium. I would say I would give this a. What are your thoughts, Austin? I don't know.
This is another tricky one too, right? Because we have us beating them at home earlier in the season. We're coming back, 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later. I would just say a win.
Seven. Yeah.
I would just say a win. I mean, we're coming off back-to-back losses. I think Vrabel would be pretty pissed and get everyone into shape. And I think,
100%.
I think if we came off back-to-back losses, we'd probably beat the shit out of the Jets. So
yeah, Aaron Glenn sometimes he
Vrabel's very Belichick and Parcells-esque that way. Back-to-back losses are. He's gonna come out firing both barrels. He's gonna be ape shit if we drop those two against Buffalo and Baltimore. The same matchups as Austin. I know you want to put Gonzo. Oh shoot, no. Oh God, what am I? I'm thinking of the Bengals here. No, you put Gonzo on Wilson.
right.
But yeah, I can't. With a pissed off Mike Vrabel, I'd have to give this a win too.
I think they're gonna have to bounce back. I think this is a bounce back win for the Patriots. I just don't. As much that you have Jets fans saying that they're gonna split with the Patriots, I just don't see that. And I'm looking at the schedule. There were countless times that we owned them at MetLife Stadium. Outside of last year, because last year was a shit show.
Owned them. I wouldn't go as far as owned. We had some shootouts against the Jets at MetLife under Belichick and Brady, but
2022, 2021.
2022, I still remember specifically. I think it was 15. We had some real shootouts against them.
But didn't we beat them 33-0?
That was like on. That was like on Christmas Day or something. Yeah, I remember that. It was either 33-0 or 33-3.
No,
that was crazy.
But that was when they had Adam Gase, who was a shit coach.
Oh, Adam Gase, Adam Goose.
But yeah, I see us beating the Jets. As much as I you have some like back-to-back like feelings about like. Oh, the Jets. The problem is the Jets can't even sweep up the Patriots. Like, When was the last time the Jets even sweep the Patriots?
Was like the Jets was back in the was it? I think it might have been. It was either 2000. I think it was 2000.
Yeah, I think so. But
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is like you can look at every team in the NFL and what does every winning team in the NFL have? A quarterback.
A quarterback.
And the fact that they had Aaron Rodgers last year and quite frankly didn't do shit. What makes you think Justin Fields is going to come into this situation with all new coaches and personnel and somehow outperform what Aaron Rodgers did? Because again, even though it was quote unquote a down year for Aaron Rodgers, that would make like Justin Fields look like fucking MVP with those same stats. Just because Justin Fields hasn't eclipsed that in his career.
So, so you're saying if Fields had Rodgers' stats even with that record? Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I just think it's really tough.
but the thing is, Justin Fields could use his legs, considering how good the offensive line is.
He could what?
Run.
He's mobile. Yeah, he could run.
But he can't throw. But
so Austin, your point is basically if Fields threw down Rodgers' same stats last season with that same record, he's never done that before.
Right.
Then again, Justin Fields, he wasn't developed properly.
Talk about a hit or miss quarterback. I mean, he shredded us in that stupid ass Bears game, but then
that was because of Belichick being stupid.
That was exactly.
Also, injuries piled.
That was what that game. Oh my! Let's not go back into what hopefully was a briefly dark period. And do you guys want to move on to the final game, which is versus the Miami Dolphins?
Yep, and we already know the outcome.
Yeah, that's a win.
That's a win. I mean,
and
if we so what's our yeah.
The only way I don't see it as a win is if somehow we get to that point and like we're in the playoffs and we just want to rest people. But I really don't see us being in a situation like that for at least a couple.
Kind of a la the Bills. Kind of a la the Bills last year. Oh, Joe Milton beat the Bills. It's like the Bills rested their starters. Big hairy deal. Not that he's bad, but again, let's not make too much of a digression here.
Yeah. Do you think Dobbs might start that game?
If we're in the playoffs, 100%.
Dobbs against Tua. I think. Wait, didn't Dobbs shred? No. I'm thinking something else. But we know Mike Vrabel owns the Dolphins.
So that puts us guys on 11-6, which I mean, give or take, I could see it that way. Give or take a couple of wins. I mean, I think 9-8, I think is much more likely, but we're not going 13-4. I'm going to go and say that, but yeah, we're
not going to go that far. I see 10-7 or 11-6, similar to like 2021, but a lot better.
Right, looking a lot better with, of course, a better quarterback and a more competent coaching staff.
Yep. Well, that concludes the breakdown and the predictions, and now we're slowly going to get into the call-in show. Remember, there is a pinned comment in the top of the chat, or I could send it to you right now so you could join in and give out your thoughts on the predictions, or give us your own predictions with the schedule given. And I gotta say, I'm excited for what the Patriots are going to be doing with a new coaching staff, with a new offense and defense. I think there's going to be some great changes.
Oh, Dow, I know Austin is excited. I know you're excited. I know I'm excited. Josh McDaniels is so underrated as an offensive coordinator. You've got Doug Marrone coaching up the offensive line. The defensive line, Williams, we know he's kind of a wild card right now. Obviously, Mike Vrabel is head coach. It's going to be fun, guys. I can say that. I can't say for sure what the record is going to be, whether it's 11-6, whether it's 9-8, whether it's 6-11. I obviously can't say, but it is going to be some fun football.
Oh, 100% it's going to be fun football. If there's no Collins, then if there's no Collins within like the next 5 minutes, or I don't know how many people are going to stick around, but what are your thoughts, Austin, given that we have may potentially get a winning record since 2021?
I'm super excited. To even double our win total, say 8 wins, I mean, that would be a huge improvement. So anything better than that, and you're talking playoff hopes, is just a win in my book. Like I couldn't be more optimistic, more looking forward to a season than I have now. And like we're all super football fans, super Pats fans, so I'm sure every season we always hype it up like, yeah, can't wait for the season, can't wait for the season.
I
But it
know.
just feels like this is different. Like it just
I
feels
tried my best to hype it up in 22, 23, 24, and we obviously know what happened there. But let me just, you guys might kind of understand this reference. I nearly jumped out of my skin when I got a D+ on my organic chemistry test back when I was at Framingham State, and I absolutely sucked in organic chemistry. After back-to-back 4-win seasons, if we go 7-10 or 8-9, that's a fucking win in my book as a Pats fan. I mean, because I mean, that mean, and then you start thinking about, let's not go as far down the road as next year's draft when people already have us taking a defensive end. But yeah, I mean, 7-10, doubling your win total, going 8-9. It's a big win, a big win.
Yeah. Also, I saw on the socials that that the Patriots, they did a schedule reveal, and the theme, you're gonna laugh when you hear it. The theme was actually, if I can find it, the theme was an egg drop challenge.
What? Oh my, an egg drop? Isn't that thing I did in elementary school? You drop the egg off the banister? Oh, jeez.
You can obviously watch it on all socials, even on YouTube. But
Where the hell is that? So say it again, Dow.
There is a 2025 Patriots schedule release video, and the theme is the egg drop challenge.
Brother.
You can find it on all socials.
Non sequitur, but really funny.
And the main people in that schedule release are Christian Gonzalez, Joshua Dobbs, Robert Spillane, Pop, Douglas, and Marcus Jones.
Interesting motley crew.
But last call for call-ins in the chat, which is in the pinned comment at the top of the chat or in the chat that I just posted. If you really want to give us your predictions, you can freely do so. I'm always welcome to see what your thoughts are, rather than just us three giving us together all on our thoughts.
And sorry, Dow. And if you guys opt to not call in tonight, the three of us will be live again on Friday evening talking wide receivers. So if you have questions on our win-loss record, feel free to call in then as well.
But wait, I forgot to ask you guys, like, going back to like the first 2 games, like against the Dolphins, who would you see? Did we discuss the key matchups against the Dolphins?
No, we didn't.
Wait, maybe we could briefly do that, and then we do the Steelers, because I don't think we did any key matchups.
You would put Austin go first.
Assuming Tyreek Hill's still there, I mean, Gonzo absolutely shut him down his rookie year before the injury, so
Correct.
You would have to put Gonzo on Tyreek Hill, and then again, if Jalen Waddle is healthy, Carlton Davis over there. This is assuming that we're playing under Vrabel's scheme, which is you don't blitz often, but it's cat coverage, right? Like he said, you got this cat, I got that cat, where that corner is just responsible for that, and you can trust that he's gonna be able to do his job. So yeah, Carlton Davis on Jalen Waddle, and then Alex Austin or Marcus Jones in the slot covering. Honestly, I couldn't tell you who their third string is because I just couldn't. But A-Chain is a crazy running back. I don't think really any of our linebackers can cover that guy, so he's definitely going to be a threat coming out of the back.
A-Chan's a freaking bowling ball.
Yeah.
But the problem is if A-Chain can ball out under a shitty O-line.
Right, he's at Armistead the past few seasons, and brother.
And then we'll briefly go into the Steelers. Like, what do you see the matchups for the Steelers? The key matchups for the Steelers.
Definitely.
Gonzo on
DK.
Gonzo on Metcalf.
Davis potentially on Woods or Austin. Or maybe Roman Wilson, the second-year player out of Michigan. And then, wait. Actually, I didn't realize we didn't do key matchups against the Bills.
Yeah, we did. Or we did. No, we didn't. Oh, sugar peas.
So I say Gonzo on Shakir.
Correct.
Davis on Coleman. And then Alex Austin, maybe on Josh Palmer. I don't know. You still have Curtis Samuel, but I don't see Josh Palmer.
Who do you put on Elijah Moore?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, the Bills have like a sneaky good wide receiver room.
Yeah,
they really do. Elijah Moore, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman.
This is what I don't understand. People were shitting on Brandon Beane because they didn't draft a good wide receiver.
And he was like, he was basically like, what the heck?
Yeah. He's saying that he's trying to replicate what Belichick did when trying to make Josh Allen as Tom Brady, which I don't see that happening, but
Josh Allen and Tom Brady are just entirely different quarterbacks.
100%. Different skill set, different build. And the Bills got a little more difficult. And the Bills, they have a different offensive corner. They have Joe Brady, who likes to run the ball most of the time.
And what did I hear last week, guys, about running football teams? And we're apparently going to do that too under McDaniels and Vrabel, who both really like to run the ball. 8 of the top 10 rushing teams in the NFL last season made the playoffs. So, and if you're talking the Bills are a rushing team, we're a rushing team. It's going to be an interesting division, an interesting conference, an interesting league.
So it seems like we're not going to do a call-in show, so I might have to edit the title, but
that is honestly, guys, I don't know about you. That's fine by me.
Yeah, I think the main theme was just going to be the breakdown predictions. I think today it was just going to be a short stream, and unfortunately it dragged out, but it wasn't that long. That's the best part. I just think that we're just giving our own thoughts.
3 Pats diehards who are all simpatico. We try to go on for an hour and it winds up almost 2. But hey, guys, I'm happy about it. How about Dow, Austin? What do you guys think?
Austin, you starter.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it never feels like that much time passed because it's just
I know
every time a couple buddies, honestly. So
I know I look at the time and it's like, really, we've been on that? No, you guys are great. I'm honored to have you two as my co-hosts.
Likewise.
Like guys, well, thank you all for joining this wonderful Wednesday here on the ND Patriots Talk. This is your boys DTN, Dadbot35, and Austin signing off. And never forget, go Pats.
Go Pats.
Peace out.
Peace.
Be sound, be safe. We'll see you guys in the next one.